Before we talk about this week's card, we're still all kind of soaking in UFC 253, and I want to get your analysis on it, because I think what we're all trying to figure out is Israel Adesanya, did he just look that good, or did Paulo Costa have an off night or a bad game plan? Like, what exactly did we see there?
Well, I think he looked that good because he had such a smart approach to it. He chopped those legs down so well. I mean, if you were in that arena to really feel those leg kicks, I mean, that'll stifle anybody's game plan. So I think that threw Costa off, and then he never got started. I think his game plan was to go out and kind of mess with him a little bit, but the whole time he was getting chopped, and he even admitted it afterwards to his coaches how badly his leg was hurting. And then from there, once Izzy's got you hurt for a second, he's just going to capitalize on it. But I also think, it was a little bit of, okay, let's go get him, man. This is what you do, the eraser. You go after people. You overwhelm them with your strikes, and he didn't do that.
Yeah, I think that's what I think most people were excited about, was like aggression and power. So I guess if you're trying to put a game plan together over what you think it would take to beat Adesanya, is that aggression and that power the right thing, or what is somebody going to need to finally beat this guy?
I mean, I think you have to look at what Gastelum did, right? I mean, we're talking about how he's picked apart all these people, but Gastelum at least put up one hell of a fight with him, busted him up, hurt him, and it was his aggression, getting in there, throwing punches, getting through that storm. You can't let him get comfortable for a second. And I know that's way easier said than done, right? Oh, just get in his face. Well, he's a good counter striker too. So if you just rush him, in a unsafe manner, he's going to clip you with his hands too, because he sits back. We talked about in all the pre-show stuff, the way he rocks back and throws that left hook. It's the same hook, the same exact posture that he knocked down and eventually knocked out Robert Whittaker with. The same thing. He's got them flexible hips and that back. I mean, a lot of guys try to do that. They'd end up just falling down or hurting themselves,
right.
But he's got the ability.
So since 253, Jon Jones' name has come up a lot, right?
Yeah.
In association with Adesanya, in association with Jan Blachowicz.
Ooh.
And then, of course, there's still the talk about him going to heavyweight as well. So from your point of view, like, what do you think is the most exciting option for Jon Jones? Like, what's the biggest thing for the sport? What would you want to commentate on?
That's a good question. What would I want to? I'd like to see Jon try his hand at heavyweight first.
Yeah.
He just posted that video of him smashing squats and things like that. So obviously, I think that's where his mind's at right now. I think it would be a big transition. Where would they meet? They would have to meet at 205, right? Izzy would have to go up. Jon's, I don't think, ever going to make 185 at this point. So I'd like to see some of these crazy fights for Jon at heavyweight. And then, Izzy's going to dominate this division, I feel, for a little while, and then I see a super fight, but I think not yet. I think they're both right for Jon to be talking the way he's talking. He's being smart. He's setting it up, and Izzy, blah blah blah. But he's right. He should, But now Jon Jones is coming to him a little bit, right? So the ball's kind of in Adesanya's court right now, which is good for him.
Nice. Let's talk about this weekend's card. Holly Holm, Marina Aldana, obviously a big fight in that division. As you're starting to break this thing down and study the tape, like, what's most intriguing to you about this? Like, what's going to set the terms for how this plays out?
My God, I think if Aldana can use that boxing, man, I think for that weight class, she's got some of the best power in that division. And Holly's just so tricky, such a veteran with the kicks. I expect her to use a lot of side kicks, keep her at range, throw head kicks, be sneaky, and mix in takedowns as well. I think we're going to see her really utilize her wrestling in this fight too, because that left hook that she landed against, she just fought this weekend. Yeah, Vieta. I mean, you don't see those kind of knockouts that often, especially from punches, right? You see it from head kicks. Obviously, you put a shin upside in somebody's head, they're going to get knocked out. But to see just a beautiful step-in left hook, and she's got some of the sickest boxing in that division.
Yeah, no doubt. Jermaine Durandame and Juliana Pena, another really intriguing fight there as well. Pena, the time off, the time away, like, where did she stand? I mean, how are you seeing this fight? It's such a clash of styles, and like I said, a former champ versus somebody who was dangerous but was away for a long time. So what do you see in the keys in this fight?
I think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be Pena trying to use, jiu-jitsu and wrestling, use her striking to get in, but I don't think anybody really wants to sit on the outside with Jermaine and make it a Muay Thai kickboxing fight. So I think it's really going to come down to where is the takedown defense of Jermaine at. We saw when she fought for the belt that she had some success in getting back up, but that's not enough to win a fight. Being able to get back up and then not score any damage doesn't do anything, right? So you've got to be able to get up and hurt your opponent and make them fear going back in and level changing on you. So I think it's going to really play out there as what happens when it goes to the ground and what happens in those times in between when Pena's trying to level changes. Can she use her knees? Can she kind of try to stifle those takedowns before she's in on the hips, right? A lot of times when people work on the wrestling defense, they start, okay, they're on my hips. What do I got to do here? I think for her, it's going to really be a prevention of not making a grappling match.
Right. Any other names that are standing out for you, whether it be something you've seen on tape or or a discussion you've had? I mean, any other fights that maybe under the radar?
One of the fighters I really like is that Casey Kenny. I think is a really exciting kid to watch on this card, and he's got a great matchup. I think those guys are going to go at it, and it's going to be an all-out brawl for 3 rounds, in my opinion, and potentially one of the fight of the nights on that card. And anytime Carlos Condit is on the card, I don't care what his latest fights have been. The Natural Born Killer's fighting. I'm tuning in. I've been a fan since WEC. I've been a training partner and somebody that has experienced the training room with him many, many, many times. I've been head kicked by him and beat up by him for years. So, and Court McGee, one of the toughest guys, and just always brings it.
Yeah.
Oh, you ain't getting Court McGee out of there without one hell of a fight. So that's one that stood out when I was looking at the card again today. That yeah, I love that matchup. I know it's 2 veterans, but sometimes those fights end up being just an all-out bloodbath.
Yeah, no question. Last thing for me, I got to ask about you fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you temporarily retired, then said, heck with that. No, I'm still looking for fights. So what's the update right now?
Man, I don't know. There's only a few names that I'd even be interested in coming back to fighting. It's the top guys. Hooker, Ferguson. Obviously, Michael Chandler's going to be coming here to Fight Island to be a backup, but hopefully that doesn't happen, right? I think we can all agree that we don't want that to happen. It's good that it's in place. God forbid something goes down, but that's a fight that I would like to come back for December or early next year. And right now, I'm basically a triathlete at this point in my life. I'm running every day, swimming every day, and biking every day. So I've already found my backup plan for when I do decide to officially retire. Is I plan on trying to do Ironman in my future. It's something that I can relate to the mindset of a fighter. I become I wouldn't say friends, but I haven't met the guy yet. But a triathlete from Canada, Lionel Sanders, is a guy I've been chatting back and forth with. So I can't just not do athletics. I can't do something because I've always trained. I've always done something. So right now, I'm just staying in great shape. I'm the lightest. I was 179 after a run the other day, which, to give you perspective, I'm not 179 normally until 10 days out from a fight. And that's if my weight's good, maybe 180. So to see that, I mean, that's after a hour and a half run, but still, the weight's down, and if those, yeah, no way. I'm sucked out of my mind when I hit 179. So there's no way. Actually, it kind of discourages me from, oh shit, no wonder 55 is so hard. I can run for 2 hours straight and have low body fat, and I'm still barely breaking 180.
Is there like a date you got to make this call by though? Is there like an expiration date where you're like, man, I'm either fighting or I'm not?
No, I feel really healthy because I haven't stepped foot in an MMA gym in probably 2 months. I haven't grappled, I haven't sparred. I've been hitting a lot of pads and just doing tons of cardio. I think I need to get back into it. I need to start grappling and helping my teammates back home. But I look at some of these gym pictures, and I'm supposed to be doing all these commentary shows where I get COVID tested, several times over and over again, and then I look at the mat full of these young kids, and there's like 30 kids on the mat, and I'm like, I see a problem all over this area right now. So I've just been trying to mentally push myself in the endurance department for the moment.
Did the UFC come to you about Michael Chandler at all? Because I heard they were still trying to book him in a fight.
No. Nope.
Would you have accepted it if they did a couple of weeks ago?
Well, I would have at least, I would have asked when the date was and talked to the team and figured out a training camp potentially. I've made it known that that's a fight I'd be interested in. I even texted Dana White when he first was talking to Chandler, saying, "Hey, if you need somebody to introduce him to the big show, then I'd be interested." And I have no disrespect towards Chandler. I think he's a great athlete, and I'm actually excited that he's over because that what if has always been there, and I'm glad that the UFC is doing that and being more interested in kind of reaching out to these other champions and bringing them over. It's having better guys. Who cares where they're from? If they're good, they're good. Let's have them compete against the best guys in the world. So.
Going back to Izzy versus Costa,
yeah.
Do you think, a lot of people saying, Paulo didn't rush in like he did, he didn't go berserker, but do you think there's an element of every time he went to go in, Izzy feinted and he bit,
oh, yeah.
bit on every feint that Izzy threw, basically?
Yeah, that's why I said first and foremost, I think it was all Adesanya's he's such a good striker, and all he's got to do is that, and you're like, oh, fuck. What's he going to, and then he started using his jab. After the leg kicks, the jab was there. And I knew that head kick was coming. It's easy for me to see it sitting on the outside analyzing it. But for Costa, you're worried about that leg, and then funk. He's lucky he didn't get knocked out with that head kick. It kind of glanced off the eyebrow and split him wide open. Imagine if that had kind of gone across the neck or the jaw. That would have been it right there.
Do you think that Paulo, I know we were talking about after, it's like, he threw a lot of kicks.
Yeah.
Something you kind of expected from him. And when he closed the distance, got him against the cage, he just threw a kick, and obviously Izzy can just scoot right outside. Is that because he didn't know what to do at that point, or is that because he was worried the counter punches are coming at him?
Yeah, I think he was just so overwhelmed in there a little bit in this fight from the get-go. Especially when there's a lot of trash talk, there's a lot of hype behind it, and then you're finally in there, and it's time to seal the deal. It's tough, right? Because I see it from his point of view too. When you're in there and you're facing these guys, it's easy to talk about what you're supposed to do, but once that guy's in front of you, to pull the trigger, to get past that range that Adesanya has, he's got such a reach on him, and I just think he couldn't find a way in. And in hindsight, I think I should have known that was going to happen from the beginning, but I got pulled in from Costa's hype and everything that was going on. I always had in my mind Izzy winning that fight, but I thought it was going to be so much more of a battle than it was.
Is it fair to say, and I don't want to put this on Costa because Izzy's so good, but is it fair to say that, pretty young in his career, undefeated, and then he goes in there, suddenly, I'm fighting for the world title. There must be a moment where the pressure, you can either
you could see it.
Choke, right?
Yeah, you could see it.
I thought he looked nervous coming in personally, but
yeah.
I think that's did that ever happen to you? Was there ever a fight where you got in there and the nerves suddenly hit you and you suddenly felt the arms and legs got heavy?
Well, I would say the first round with Dan Hooker was definitely an example of that crowd getting to me. I didn't do anything except get punched in the face and kicked in the calf for the first 5 minutes of that fight, and then I kind of, in between rounds, I woke up, but he never really got that opportunity. You saw his corner trying to, get him alive in between the first and the second, but at that point, the damage I think was done.
Do you think there's a possibility that Izzy's now showing where Costa's weak? So, like, if you can set traps for him, strike for him, like, I'm thinking more a technical guy like Till, someone who can be technical, you might be able to diffuse the bomb that's coming your way.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some other guys in that division that would have a much better chance, especially Till, because he is much longer, he's taller, and he's a striker by heart, whereas Costa's a striker by heart, but it's more of that boxing style, attack the body. But to do that to a guy like Izzy, you're not getting in there to hit that liver. You're not getting in there to rip to the body and then come up to the head. He's not going to let you just do that. There was 1 second, like you're talking about, up against the fence where it's like, oh, that was his opportunity, and just never happened. I remember that's where we were like, oh, he closed the distance, and then nothing happened with it.
Last one from me. If you're the UFC now, do you put Costa against the loser of Till Hermanson, loser of Whittaker Cannonier, or against Kelvin Gastelum?
I like that Kelvin Gastelum fight, now that you say that, just because I think that's a fight where he can display that striking style, and Kelvin, he'll go right in there and meet him with it, and we also might get to test that black belt that he's wearing around his waist if he fights Gastelum, because he will mix in his wrestling. He will take him down at some point. I like that fight. Yeah, man, he should be calling the UFC. Sean Shelby, watch out, man. Watch out.
As a fellow fighter, what did you make of Israel Adesanya's celebration, the dry humping, and getting Captain Eric's face and everything at the end?
To be honest, I totally missed the dry humping in the moment. I think I was so excited about the fight that it wasn't until we were all having breakfast afterwards. I was like, he humped him? They're like, yeah, you didn't see that? I was like, no, I totally missed that. Listen, would I do it? No. Is it a little disrespectful? Yeah. Was Costa probably disrespectful in some of the antics and stuff leading up to that fight? Yeah. So I think in that fight, it was kind of fair game, man. The winner of that was gone a showboat. If Costa knocked him out cold in that first round, you don't think he'd have been running all over that cage doing something a little I don't know if he would have dry humped him, but But he would have done something, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's not my style, but that's not my job to...
So do you think the people that found it offensive, do you think it's a little overblown?
I think, don't get me started on what I think about the people sitting at home and their computers and what's this, and yeah, I mean, not you guys. You guys are here, you're working, your media outlets, but the Twitter fingers, man.
Sure.
I don't care what they think, yeah.
Last one, you don't have to give a prediction, but we lost obviously the Tony Khabib fight, but I think a lot of people view Justin Gaethje as maybe Khabib's just a tougher challenge in general.
Yeah.
Were you in that?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I think that wrestling, right? I think whoever is going to give Khabib the biggest challenge and really be able to maybe win has to have really solid wrestling. And I think if Justin wanted to, which we all know he's not going to do, if he wanted to wrestle back and maybe score his own takedowns, I think he could. And that's Chandler's defense, too, for if he had to step in there. He's like, look, I'm one of the few guys that I think I could take him down as well. And wouldn't that flip, everything on its head if he came out and just blast doubled Khabib? But he's not going to. He's not going to.
Talk about the Twitter thing, the haters and all of that. I see that sometimes you go back and forth with
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that for fun? Like you're like quarantining? Let me answer some people.
It's always when I am stuck somewhere, right? People think, oh, I got you hyped up, bro. You're wasting your time. I'm like, man, I'm in a 48-hour quarantine talking trash. Like I have nothing else to do. I've already talked to my family, so you're the next thing on my agenda. I do get carried away, and everyone that I love and that's close to me is like, stop doing it. You're just making, you're giving them shine that they don't need, and they're right. But I'm not old by any means, but I'm from the school of if you talk shit, you're going to get it talked back to you. I can't punch you in the face because if you said any of that to my face where nobody's looking, I'm punching you right in the face. It's just, it's how it would be. Some of the things that people have said to me, you would never come up to any of these athletes, not just me, but any of these guys, even the people attacking Adesanya. It's like, go one-on-one when you're staring up at that guy and tell him that, he's a disrespectful loser, non-martial artist. It's like, come on now. I hate it.
Yeah, definitely Twitter makes people stronger and like braver. That's why they say all of that.
Oh man, I know. I do have to stop, and I really am vowing to start responding more to my fans, like because I get I get a lot of love as well from people. It's not all trash talk out there, but I feel like I need to put those people in the place. So I apologize to the fans and the friends out there who are also trying to get my attention, and I'm wasting my time on the haters. So to all my fans out there, if this can get out there, I love you guys. Thank you so much for all the support.
Didn't the fan once say to you like some shit? You said you wouldn't say that to my face, and then he said, "That's correct." Yeah?
Oh, that went viral. Yeah, that was all over the place. That guy said the right thing at the right time. Where I was like, "You would never." He's like, "You're correct. You would kick my ass." That's why I'm saying it on Twitter. And I was like, "Fair enough." And yeah, it definitely blew up way more than I ever. I mean, all the meme pages, all these pages, all the kids are looking at these days. Yeah, it was everywhere. I was like, "Holy crap!" I didn't expect this to escalate.
I'm gonna go back to what you said in the beginning about the Ironman. Are you interested in the full one or half?
So, it's a good question because when I'm in my room right now, when I'm not studying for these fights, all I'm watching is triathletes training for Ironman, the 70.3, the Olympic levels. I would probably start with an Olympic level just triathlon, which I could do, I think, next week if I had to. Like the swim's not that long. The swimming is by far where I need work. And I also need to get on the road with a bike more because I've been doing a lot of indoor training and things like that. But Zwift, you guys know the online platform Zwift. You probably guys have no idea what I'm talking about. But I'm getting into that, and I've got the guys from Wahoo, which they make heart monitors, they make bikes, they make the attachments for the bikes. They're actually dropping off a brand new bike trainer for me when I get back. The screens, the fans, they've like kind of hooked me up. But eventually, I want to do a full one. I want to test that. But 112-mile bike, and then off of the bike to run a marathon's a bit of a stretch for me right now. I'd have to absolutely put MMA in the back window before I could even think about doing something of that magnitude.
So you think you're better at running? I think you would be.
I'm decent at running. It's just I've got some nagging things that I'm trying to fix before I can start running marathon. But today I ran 7.5 today on the treadmill. I was outside on the streets the one night. I ran 9 miles, and that was absolutely death in this heat. I biked for 2 hours the other day on these crappy road bikes that they're running us. They're great for what they're for.
Yeah.
But if you're really trying to put in miles, then like I'm shifting my chain pop twice, so it's been
Right here? Mine pops on the
on the hill trying to climb, and I'm trying to downshift, and it's like clang, clang, and my hands are covered in oil and grease. But yeah, I love it. So yeah, if these guys don't want to fight, I have no problem walking away from it, man. I made my run. I tried. With COVID and everything that's going on, making it even more complex and no fans, it's like if that sold out arena in Auckland, New Zealand had to be my last show, no problem. If it's not, no problem. But you know, I'm making money. I'm not fat and happy. I'm lean and happy for a change. That was always the concern about when I was going to retire, is what am I going to do for myself, because I'm just going to be 300 pounds and not know what to do with myself. So I found my outlet. So now I can at least be like, all right, I know what I'm doing afterwards.
Hey, Paul.
Hey.
How you doing, mate?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Real good. So, 8 years ago, you fought a gentleman named Carl Worthy.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, he's been recently signed to the UFC.
Right.
What do you think to his evolution? How do you think you pair up with him now?
Oh man, well, to his evolution, I think he's just always been that guy that's goes out on his shield, as we've seen him do. He either goes out there and he's going to smack you around and make it exciting, or he's going to lose that same way. But I think he's kind of dialed things in and gotten a little sharper on the feet, because he was a little reckless back in the day, especially when I fought him. But yeah, we were both, he was from Pittsburgh, I was from Philly. We were both kind of the young guns on the scene, only had a few fights each. And I mean, that was my fastest knockout. So I still, he makes me look better every day. Every day he wins a fight, I'm like, yes, keep winning those fights. And obviously, if we matched up now, I mean, I still think I win that fight 100%. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen, because that means I'm taking quite a few steps back. And I'm definitely not coming back for Kama Worthy. All respect to him, but yeah. But yeah, that's forever ago. I think it was my third ever fight, third pro fight. Silenced that crowd pretty good that night. That was nice.
I just wanted to get one more one.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get your expert opinion on the psychological effects going into a fight, knowing that it might be your last one.
Like, if I was to go into it and take another fight?
Yeah.
I thought if I lost the Hooker fight, I knew that might be my last fight. I didn't say anything. I didn't make it a thing, and I didn't even tell my coaches. But
does that play on you though? Like before you go in, like does it affect how you do the fight?
It just made me want to leave it all in there, which I think is a good thing, right? But I'm not one of those guys that, because it might be my last one, I'm thinking, you know, when the going gets tough in there, I'm like, I don't need this anymore. It was never like that. So, it's a fist fight to me. Like, anytime I'm in there fighting, I'm never going to be like, oh, I'm done. So, it didn't really have any negative effects on me. If anything, I think it had positive effects to just make me push even harder. But yeah, it's a tricky situation. You know, you want to get ranked, you want to get as high in the rankings as possible, and then you realize it's tough to get fights. You know, it's tough to get what you want, because everybody in the top 5, top 10, we all want the same thing. So I'm just finding that a bit of a challenge. I've been offered fights, I'm not going to lie. I've been offered fights where guys are ranked lower than me, and I said no.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
All good?
Cool?
That's it,
All
sir.
right, thank you, guys.